I think let's start, and a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Khera on behalf of the India Myanmar Chamber of Commerce and also the Indian Association of Myanmar. We are actually delighted to have Mr. Khera with us today. As a matter of fact, in our XCOM, we have been discussing that not only would we like, prominent speakers from the business world to talk to us, but one of the most important things that came up was that we need, at such times when the world is going through this whole COVID-19 crisis, you need speakers who would motivate everyone, each one of us, and show us positivity in these difficult times. And the first name that came up with everyone was Mr. Khera's. So I'm actually thankful that Mr. Khera accepted our invitation and to be here with us. And I'm sure we'll all really benefit from listening to him. I think he really needs no introduction. A lot of people know him, but I'm also very happy that a lot of our Myanmar friends have joined the webinar today. So as a formality, I would just like to give a very brief introduction about Mr. Khera. Mr. Khera is an author, an educator, a business consultant, and a much sought after speaker. He inspires and encourages individuals to realize their true potential. He has taken his dynamic personal messages to the whole globe, starting right from the US to Singapore. And he has over 40 years of research and understanding put up by millions on the path of growth and fulfillment. Over 8 million copies of his books have been sold globally, including his international bestseller, You Can Win, in 21 languages. Mr. Khera has advised a host of clients globally, and some of the big names I'll read out to you are companies like Lufthansa, HP, DHL, HSBC, Canon, Nestle, Philips, Mercedes, Johnson & Johnson, MetLife, amongst many more. Tens of thousands of people have benefited from his dynamic workshops internationally in over 20 countries, and millions have heard him as a keynote speaker. He has appeared on numerous radio and television shows. Mr. Khera is the brand ambassador of the Roundtable Foundation. He's been honored by the Lions International and Rotary International. And Mr. Khera's trademark really is all about winners don't do different things. They do things differently. So once again, a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Khera. Just a request to all of you, kindly please switch off your mobiles. Mr. Khera is a very, very passionate speaker. He speaks, and I would really encourage all of you to engage and listen very carefully to what he has to communicate with us in the next 60 to 70 minutes. So kindly, my humble request to all members to please switch off your mobiles. And after Mr. Khera delivers his address, he has also kindly agreed to take 3 questions. So we will moderate that after the talk is over. He will take on 3 questions, and then I will also request Naresh to propose then a vote of thanks. So once again, welcome, and Mr. Khera, over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sonil, I'm grateful to you, sir, for your kind words, and I pray to God to keep up to your expectations. So I'm grateful to you, sir. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh. Now, first of all, I must make some disclaimers. I don't know of anybody in this world who has all the answers. Certainly I don't. And how did we pick up this topic, turn setbacks into comebacks? I had 3 major setbacks in my life, and the learning that I had during this period, that is what I'm going to be sharing about as I go along. Now, my academics are, I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. And I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working, and the mines got nationalized. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Street means street. My father had died when I was just about finishing college, and we were left with the liabilities, and the assets were gone. And I was just married 4 weeks then. I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto, and not being that educated, I started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door for about 1.5 years, and then was selling vacuum cleaners in the evening and washing cars during daytime, and totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. And I had a rough start. I was on the verge of being fired. Now, what were the turning points is what I'm going to share with you as we go along. But life changed for me. I moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, that's where I'm going to stop here as far as my life is concerned. Now, let's come to the current crisis. What are the challenges? The coronavirus has gone from one city to the other, literally covered the whole world. Then overcrowded hospitals, shortage of supplies, orders are getting canceled all over the world, unemployment going up, factories closing, and death rate going up. Now, this kind of scenario has literally shaken up the world. Now, with that, all this has created a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability. Nobody has a crystal ball to say that that is the finished point. That is the finish line. Nobody knows what it is. And this kind of uncertainty is leading to insecurity. And the insecurity is causing a lot of stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and anger. Now, all I can say is that stress is both normal and natural. And anybody who says they don't have stress belongs into the lunatic asylum. Now, important thing is, all stress is not bad. In fact, it is the stress that makes us perform. An athlete at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, he would not be able to perform. Now, pretty much all of us might have seen, at least in the movies, at the race course, the thoroughbreds, before they get into the race, while they're taking the thoroughbreds into the cabin, the thoroughbreds are jumping up and down like this. What are they doing? They're under very heavy stress. And then they get them into the cabin. And then when the bell rings, the thoroughbred shoots. Now that is a thoroughbred. Folks, you take a jackass to the race course. This guy is so relaxed. He's under no stress. He's not jumping at all. He goes so cool and relaxed, but then he does not perform like a jackass, like a thoroughbred. Folks, this sentence is very important. Stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Naresh, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, folks, we can all of us can handle stress. But what we cannot handle is chronic stress. I repeat, stress we all can handle. But what we cannot handle is chronic stress, when stress becomes permanent, and that is where we have a problem. Now, I want to make one statement which is very crucial. Let us not overrate the crisis and threat that we are facing. And let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. This needs repetition. Let us not overrate the crisis and threat that we are facing. And let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. That is crucial. Now, this crisis impacted us 3 ways. 1, our life. 2, livelihood. 3, our lifestyle. How does it impact our life? Folks, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. And 2, what we do, where we go, and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. I repeat again, what we do, where we go, and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. So much for life. Now, let's come to the livelihood. All over the world, incomes have stopped all of a sudden. Individual incomes have stopped, business have closed, and even governments are going bankrupt. They're not collecting any taxes either. So with the result, it has caused a major economic crisis. Now, let us look at who are the people who have got the major problem on livelihood. Now, everybody in this world is divided into three categories. One, the super rich. Two, the mediocre. And three, the poor. Folks, the worst hit are the poor people. They're the daily wage earners. They work during the day, eat in the evening. Work during the day, eat in the evening. They are the worst hit. That's one. Now let us talk of the super rich. Super rich are the people like the big companies like the Apple computers, the Birlas, the Tatas, the Adanis, the Ambanis. That is the one. I don't think they have a problem. Folks, I was just reading, Apple Computers has close to $200 billion in cash reserve. I don't think they have a livelihood problem. Same thing, I would be totally surprised if people like the Adanis, the Ambanis, and the Tatas and the Birlas, they also have a cash flow problem. I'd be surprised. So really, in my opinion, they don't. Now let us talk of the mediocre people, possibly like me and many others watching the program today. People like us are wondering, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? Now, folks, we used to do financial planning in the US, the company I sold, and we used to tell our clients that you must have 1 year of your income into as an emergency fund or an opportunity fund. 1 year of your income, where you should be able to access that money within less than 24 hours. Why? Because the emergencies and accidents don't warn you in advance. So that is why they're called accidents. You must be able to access that money within less than 24 hours. Now, if we don't have it, it's a little too late, but going forward, we need to plan out properly. Now, that is one component of it, the emergency fund. And now people have also realized the difference between active income and passive income. Active income is, I go to work, I get money. I go to work, I get money. I go to work, I get money. I don't go to work, I don't get any money. Now, this is called active income. So now people have realized I must generate passive income. Even if I don't go to work, I must have an income. Now, this is where we are talking in terms of livelihood. Now, the third part is lifestyle. Now, folks, till the lockdown came in, all of us, we were on the fast lane. Everybody was running. Where we were going, we didn't know, but we were going, everybody. We had no time. We just had no time. Now, look at this, Sunil. What a paradox it is. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history. And yet we don't have what? We don't have time. You know why? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And I'm not preaching here. I stand guilty myself here. And when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Now, urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the funny thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I'm not able to exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will land up in the hospital. See, folks, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. In life, relationships are important. They're not urgent. But if we ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? We start talking to our lawyers. Keep in mind, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. And now the crisis has done one thing for us. Everybody has stepped backwards and they are re-looking at their priorities. And they started thinking, we were running all right, but were we running in the right direction? And now people have realized that direction is much more important than speed. I repeat, direction is much more important than speed. Now, if we don't have the right direction and you have speed, you might be going to the wrong direction. And many times that is what we people were doing. Now, the second component of lifestyle is that people have started distinguishing between the discretionary and non-discretionary spending. People have realized that money in the bank is more important than having 35 shirts in the closet. Money in the bank is more important than buying a car for $100,000. So people are re-evaluating the priorities. Okay, now, through history, the only two references that we have where we have faced a similar crisis is, one was the Spanish flu in the year 1918, and the second was the Great Depression of 1929. The Spanish flu came in two phases. The first phase was in 1918, and it faded away, finished up, and people thought the crisis is over. But really, it was not over. It came back again in 1919, and it killed close to 50 million people. It killed 50 million people. Now, why am I sharing this with you? The moment the lockdown is finished, people drop their guards and they say the crisis is over. Folks, keep in mind, the crisis is not over. The second phase is much worse than the first phase. Look at what is happening in South Korea, Singapore. Now, we need to be careful. The crisis is not over till there's a vaccine here. Now, the second reference point was the Great Depression of 1929. Wall Street collapsed, banks failed, people lost their savings, and $100 became $15. Naresh, $100 became $15, and 15 million people lost their jobs. 15 million people. Now, 15 million in 1929 is equivalent to 50 million people today in the US alone, because the population is 3 times more today. Now, what is the silver lining? This is most important. What is the silver lining? Folks, studies show that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. I repeat, whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. During the crisis, depression, when people had lost their job, they had no money, no risk-taking ability, but there were some people who were called the positive entrepreneurs or survivalist entrepreneurs. They started their business then during the Great Depression. And today, after 100 years, they have literally become a household word in the US. Now, they had no risk-taking ability, they had no money, but they were solution-focused people. Now, there are some people in this world who are only problem-focused. That means you give them a solution and they will give you a problem. Folks, Henry Ford said, kick them out. We understand there are problems in this world, but we need solution-focused people. I'm going to share with you 3 examples. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood, he started an outlet in an abundant place of non-perishable and durable goods. Now, why these two words are crucial? Non-perishable. Because if they perish, he lost money. He could not afford to do that. And durable means if they don't sell, at least the family can use it. He started an outlet 100 years ago. And today in the US, he has 1,000 outlets. And with $30 billion of turnover. His net worth is in excess of $6 billion. And the store is called Publix Supermarket. You can Google and check it out, this guy. And the second set example was, there were two brothers, Gallo brothers in California. They were struggling. So they started crushing grapes and started making wine out of it. But then nobody would buy it. So they started selling the wine at 50% below market, 50% below market. That's how they started. But today, Gallo Winery is one of the largest wineries in the US, accounting for 25% of the wine business in the US. And they're worth close to $8 to $10 billion. And the third example was a man by the name of Simplot, had a small patch of land in Idaho, started cultivating potatoes. And now what he could not sell, the family ate. And what he could not eat, they started rotting. So he could not afford the potatoes getting rot. So he created a system to freeze them. Folks, and today he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US. He's called the Potato King, and his net worth is close to $8 to $10 billion. Now, these examples that I'm sharing with you, I don't want to mislead you that each one of us starting a business like this will have $1 billion in the bank or become multi-billionaire. That is not the message. All I'm saying is that we need to become solution-focused, not problem-focused. Now, think about it. How come, under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Identical circumstances. Now, folks, this crisis has impacted us three different ways. One, physically, two, economically, and three, psychologically. Physically is the medical part. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not qualified to talk about it, but WHO is giving enough information all over. So I will leave it on that one for the medical doctors to talk about it. Now let's talk of economically. This is important. Folks, people have realized one thing, that bottom line is more important than top line. I repeat, bottom line is more important than top line. And second part of economics that has happened is, till the crisis came, everybody was talking about globalization, globalization, globalization. Now people are talking localization, localization, and localization. Why is that? You are depending on a country 20,000 miles away for your supplies. And if they start blackmailing you, now what do? You are in deep trouble. Folks, are you aware that United States depends on China for 97% of their pharma products? I didn't know that. 97% of the pharma products, US depends on China. And now they say we cannot do that. We must become self-sufficient and independent. Therefore, production must come closer to consumption. No wonder people are bringing production close to consumption. Why did they take production so far away anyway? Because of labor cost. But now people are realizing with automation, robotics, labor component has become very small. You can multiply 10 times your productivity with 1/10 of labor. So this is the economic aspect of it. And lastly, which is most important, is the psychological aspect, which is our emotional side. Now, folks, I must say one thing. It is an emotional challenge to all of us. But people who are emotionally strong, they are coming out stronger out of this crisis. And people who are emotionally weak, they have started fighting in their own families. They're creating more problems. The WHO came up with a report that domestic violence has gone up by 50%. So emotionally strong people are able to cope up with the crisis a lot better. Okay, now, what are the possible ways to overcome the crisis? I'm going to share with you 9 steps. And if you want to take them down, please do so. How do we cope with the crisis? 9 steps. Step 1. Step 1 is the serenity prayer. When I went to US, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book, Power of Positive Thinking. There were 1,000 people in the program, and I was there. And Dr. Peale came in, looked at the entire audience, and said, it appears you are so calm, comfortable, relaxed. It appears nobody has a problem here. Then he asked, does anybody have a problem here? Guess what? Everybody raised their hand. We all have problems. Who doesn't have problems? Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. We'd like to get rid of the problems. Then Dr. Peale said, on my way here, coming to this congregation, I came across a place where I saw there were some people all stretched out, totally relaxed. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. And I see some people lying there all stretched out, totally relaxed. They have no problem at all. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. And Dr. Peale said that day, which was very profound. He said, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And when we are running short of problems, that is the time to get on your knees and pray to God. Have you stopped trusting me anymore? Send me some problems. And that day, he gave a prayer, which is a 2,000-year-old prayer called the Serenity Prayer. And that prayer, I have been using for the past 45 years. I don't leave home without it. And I've faced many crises in my life, and this prayer has given me a lot of strength. I'm going to repeat the prayer twice and slowly in case people want to take this down. This has been my life completely. It goes like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. Now, folks, if we analyze and dissect this little prayer, it says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, let me ask you, is everything in our control in life? Can we change everything to suit us? Answer is no. There are many things beyond us, such as I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. And if this is the color of my skin and my height, there's nothing I can do about it. And granted, people are born deformed sometimes. And granted, sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? How did this corona crisis come? I don't know, but it's here. See, the prayer says, if I cannot change, then let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Folks, but many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change. And we bring stress into our lives. And we become paralyzed and we become unproductive. So if I cannot change, let me accept graciously, not grudgingly. And if I can change, then give me the guts to do it and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, folks, when I wrote my new book, You Can Achieve More, which was launched last year in London, folks, I took this thought 2 steps forward. And I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. It seems like a contradiction, but not really. See, how is life full of choices? See, folks, if I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I have chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? If I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? If I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? If I tell lies, I've chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? If I tell the truth, I've chosen to be an integrity person, haven't I? Folks, life is full of choices. Now, crucial thing is, we are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice after that. And how is life full of compromises? Folks, as somebody said very well, in life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That is our choice. Now, what is success, folks? Series of positive choices in life is called success. And series of negative choices in life is called failure. And that's it. Now, many times, I'm asked by the press, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who are unsuccessful or people who are failures, don't they do positive things? And my answer is that people who are successful, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anyone a failure. It is repeating the same mistake again and again is what makes a person a failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. And that is what success and failure is all about. Now, step two. To overcome the crisis. Folks, limit your exposure to news to only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. Why? Because news is so negative. Why? Because news is so depressing. Have you noticed one thing? There are people who wake up in the morning, 8 o'clock, And the first thing they do is they turn the TV on to watch the score, as if there's a cricket match going on between England and Australia. And what are they looking for? How many infected, how many died, how many infected, how many died, how many infected, how many died. They watch that for 1 hour. And then they change that channel, the second channel, to see how many infected, how many died, as if the score is going to change. Then they move to the third channel, fourth channel, fifth channel, and they keep watching from morning till night how many infected, how many died. And after watching that for 12 hours, they feel depressed. Well, of course you will feel depressed, because all you've been watching is negativity 12 hours. And your immunity goes down, your chance of catching the viral are much greater. Folks, limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, because news is so negative. And get your information from reliable sources. There is a lot of fake news going on all over. That is important. Now, step three. Folks, convert your downtime to uptime. Convert your wasted time to productive time. I repeat, Naresh, convert your wasted time to productive time. Folks, somebody asked Nelson Mandela, how did you survive 27 years in jail? And the answer Mandela gave was amazing. He said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. Man, what an answer. I was not surviving, I was preparing. What was he saying in unsaid words? I will not let the crisis define me. I will use the crisis to define me. Now, let me share. You see, before the crisis came in the US, there was a survey conducted that an average American watches 3 to 4 hours of television per day. And during the crisis, there are people watching 8-10 hours of TV per day. So a man bought a new TV, and a friend came visiting, saw the new TV, very impressed, and he asked, how much did you buy this TV for? What did the TV cost you? He said, $1,000. He said, are you sure? He said, yes. He said, well, maybe you haven't done your arithmetic properly. He said, tell me, what is your annual income? He said, I make $100,000 per year. He said, have you ever calculated what's your hourly rate? He said, if I work 2,000 hours a year, my hourly rate comes to $50 an hour. And how many hours do you watch TV per day? He said, 3 hours per day. He said, 3 hours multiplied $50, $150 per day. You watch 365 days a year. Do you know what this TV is costing you? It is costing you $55,000 per year. That is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home. Folks, don't get me wrong. We all like to watch TV. It is relaxing, and we need to watch sometime. A nice movie, a nice play. But watching 3 to 4 hours per day, what are we doing? We are paying those people who are acting in the movies and the plays, and we are paying for it. Convert your downtime to uptime. Now, how do you do it? In my new book, You Can Achieve More, I have mentioned a survey which said that 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world today are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. And they were asked, how did you achieve so much financial success in such a short time? And the answer was, we read books. How many books and what kind of books? And the answer was, we read 50 books a year. Now, 50 books a year comes to 1 book a week. Folks, look at this. The multimillionaires and billionaires make time to read one book a week. Warren Buffett reads books. Bill Gates reads books. One book a week. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? And the answer was, we read self-help books. We don't read fiction. Fiction is fiction. Self-help book is, they said, one good idea could be worth $1 million. Look at this, folks. The multimillionaires and billionaires read one book a week. So now we understand that there is a connection between learning and earning, learning and earning, and learning and earning. Now, folks, why should we read books? Because a good book gives us a wisdom of ages in a capsule form. And then you don't have to reinvent the wheel to follow the path to success. And at the same time, it helps you avoid pitfalls. Could be very costly. Now, I also learned one thing, that a good serious reader will never borrow or lend books. Many times people come and say, Mr. Khera, I got a great book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me. But don't lend it to me. Why? Because I will not give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I sit with a pencil and a marker and I underline and I make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing, that reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? Because when you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you do find something new in yourself. Folks, interesting. When you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you do find something new in yourself. So there is a tremendous connection between learning and earning, learning and earning, and learning and earning. Now, folks, there are many people out there who say, well, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money. You know something? Every book is available for free in every library today. And besides, multimillionaires make time to read one book. These are the people who get somewhere in life, and people who don't have to do it, they will make excuses all the time, and they will never read anything sensible. So folks, and they will keep watching TV, and they will keep complaining and blaming their luck for what happened. Folks, convert your wasted time to productive time. I remember I used to read about 30, 40 books a year at one time. But in between, I dropped the habit. And don't get me wrong. For the first couple of days after the lockdown, I also spent 8 hours of time into watching TV. After that, I kicked myself. I said, what are you doing? I started cleaning up my library, and I found I have close to 250,000 books in my library, which is more than any library has. And many books I read were half. I started reading them. And one night I was reading all night, the whole book, till morning, till 6 o'clock. I couldn't wake up till 2 o'clock, but that's okay. I didn't waste my time watching TV. Folks, I repeat, convert your wasted time to productive time. Step 4. Step 4. Folks, how do we overcome frustration and depression? I get calls many times from people, Mr. Khera, I'm bored, I'm feeling depressed, what do I do? They think I have all the answers, I really don't. But anyway, I learned one thing in my life, that only boring people in life are bored. I repeat, only boring people in life are bored. And they say, well, how do I overcome depression? Folks, a world famous psychiatrist was a man by the name of Dr. Carl Menninger. The Menninger Clinic is world famous in the US in psychiatry. So somebody asked Dr. Menninger, Doc, if you knew for sure, guaranteed, that somebody was coming of an attack of depression, what prescription would you give to them? They were hoping or thinking he would write some medication. And Dr. Menninger said, if I knew for sure that one of my patients was coming up with an attack of depression, I will tell them, go home, lock yourself out of the house, go to the other side of town, look for somebody who is in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away automatically. Look at this. A world-famous psychiatrist says, look for somebody who's in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away. You know something, folks? He says, busy people have no time to get depressed. Poor people don't get depressed. You know why? They're so busy earning a living. They don't have the time to get depressed. Depression is the disease of the rich. Folks, now coming back. Step 5. How do we overcome the crisis? Step 5. Folks, build positive relationships. I repeat, build positive relationships. What does that mean? At the outset, I want to make a statement which I understand very clearly. Folks, our biggest asset is not our bank balance, but it is our relationship balance. I repeat, our biggest asset is not our bank balance, but it is our relationship balance. Folks, people who have good relationships, I repeat, people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. I repeat, people with good relationship, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Folks, in life, our biggest asset is our relationship. Personally, God forbid, if any of us was in the hospital tonight, how many people will you have all around us? Probably 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and that's it. And those are the people that we end up neglecting. And folks, one thing is so good, that this crisis, people who are emotionally strong, they're becoming stronger, and their relationships are becoming stronger, and they're bonding much stronger. And people who don't have good relationships, this is time to bond. And if you don't do it, you'll break. You're heading for breakage. Folks, good relationships and good friends, they are our support group in life. Because everybody in this world, we all go through ups and downs. And it is that downtime when our relationship support us. That is our biggest asset. Now, folks, I got a call the other day from a gentleman who I had not heard in 10 years. I had a lot of respect for him. He called up and he said, Mr. Khera, I'm so-and-so, we had connected 10 years ago. But in 10 years, we had not reconnected. I apologize. I apologize. I want to reconnect with you. I'm making that call. I have no business with you, but I have respect for you and I want to reconnect with you. Man, what a call. After he hung up, I felt so embarrassed that this guy beat me to a phone call. I should have made that call to him. And immediately after I hung up with him, I opened up my telephone directory and I started looking at some people who I had connected a few years ago, but had not remained in touch with them. And I picked up the phone and called up and said, buddy, we had connected about 5 years ago and somewhere we did not keep up. I apologize. It is my fault. I'm just calling to reconnect, and that's it. And that is it. Folks, but there are some people who network. They're building contacts. You know what? Their only one purpose of building contact is that someday this person could be useful. Folks, I was doing a program. We have an office in Singapore, and I came from a dinner. I met a gentleman in the lobby, and he said, "You were coming from dinner and met some people?" I said, "Yes." And his first question was, "I hope you met somebody who could have been useful to you. I hope you met some people who could be useful to you." Now, this person only thinks of one thing. I want to meet only people who are useful. They are selfish rascals. They are parasites. They're only looking for what they can get out of you. Folks, they don't understand. And these are people, when usefulness goes, friendship also goes. They're very shallow, selfish people. Make sure, get rid of these idiots. Folks, keep in mind, there are 4 kinds of friendships in life, relationships. One is called friendship of convenience. It is convenient to be together, so we are friends. Convenience goes, friendship goes. The second kind of friendship is called friendship of usefulness. Well, the person could be useful, so stay connected. Now, usefulness goes, friendship also goes. This is a very selfish way of looking at things in life. But the third kind of friendship is built on what? On mutual respect. Mutual respect. Now, if I have a friend, been friend for 20 years, and God forbid he has a problem tonight, who is it going to go to? Most natural person is me, who's been friend of 20 years. Now, is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. If I do help, am I doing an obligation? No. And if I don't help, am I behaving like a friend? No. Folks, keep in mind, friendship is never built so that the person could be useful. Keep in mind, helping each other is a duty of a friend. I repeat, helping each other is a duty of a friend. But it is never the purpose of friendship. Because if it is a purpose, then purpose finishes, friendship finishes too. Helping each other always remains incidental to friendship. And that is what life is all about. To build relationship, we must learn to give first before we can get. Okay, that is what relationship is all about. Okay, number 6. Number 6. Folks, 6th factor that helps us build, overcome crisis is, folks, become a proactive person. I repeat, become a proactive person. What does that mean? See, when we do our leadership programs, it is a 3-day, 4-day program. We ask people by surprise, are you a good person? Once in a while, they say, yes, I'm a good person. And you ask a follow-up question, what makes you good? And many times they say, well, I don't do bad, so I'm good. I don't tell lies, so I'm good. I don't cheat, so I'm good. I don't steal, so I'm good. And this answer, in my opinion, is incorrect answer. And I tell them, and I say to them that, look, if I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief, but that does not make me good. If I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar, but that does not make me good. And if I don't cheat, it only means I'm not a cheat, but that does not make me good. Folks, go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Similarly, just by not doing bad does not make a person good. A person becomes good when they proactively do good. Proactively do good. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Folks, pretty much everybody who's watching this video today, you're all leaders. Everybody is a leader. We're leading our families, we're leading our organization, we're leading our society, we're leading in some form or the other. And I learned one thing in my life. A good leader stands for something, and then a good leader stands against something. A good leader is never neutral. And if you're neutral, you're a politician. I repeat, if you are neutral, you are a politician. You're not a leader. Folks, a good leader stands for something and stands against something. He is not neutral. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because all my life, I have never been a neutral person. I've always stood up for something and stood against something. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Folks, people talk of compassion. I have no compassion for the enemies of humanity. I repeat, I have no compassion for the enemies of humanity. Now, who do I call the enemies of humanity? Folks, I've watched so many videos from New York, from Europe, from India, and many other places, and I've seen people beating up the doctors. They're ill-treating the nurses. They're spitting at the cops. They're spitting at the security forces. And even when they know they have the virus and they're suffering from the coronavirus, but they're spitting at the doctors, they're spitting at the nurses, and they're spitting at the vegetables, they're spitting at the fruits, and they're spitting at the pizzas for home delivery. This is sadistic behavior. Knowing fully well that they have the virus, they want to give it to somebody else. This is what I call the enemies of humanity. I have no compassion for them. Now, let me share one step further, because most of the audience that is watching today are Indian. Now, I finished a program. There were about 6,000 people, 6,000 people. And one man from the audience came up and he says, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? I've learned one thing in my life. Don't answer a question till you clarify. And two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, can you define a Gandhian? Who's a Gandhian? What are the criteria of being a Gandhian? And here is what this man said. He said Gandhi stood for three principles in life. One, Gandhi believed that with love, you can win everybody in this world. First principle of Gandhi is, with love, you can win everybody. Two, second principle of Gandhi is tolerance. Become tolerant. And the third principle of Gandhi was non-violence. Non-violence. Three principles. So again, he asked me, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? I don't know what got in my mind at that point. I said to him that, look, in our culture, our epics like the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, they're sacred. I've not read them, but I've heard a lot about them or what is there. So I asked him, was Ram a Gandhian? I repeat, was Ram a Gandhian? Let us look at, did Ram qualify on the three principles of Gandhi? Number one, with love you can win everybody. Was Ram able to win everybody with love? Answer is no, he could not. Two, second principle of Gandhi was tolerance. Did Ram say, I'm very tolerant? You kidnap my wife away, it's all right, I'll get a second one. You'll kidnap the second one, I'll get a third one. You'll kidnap a third one, I'll get a fourth one. Did he say that? He said no. He said, I don't tolerate kidnappers. I will not tolerate kidnappers. And three, you said non-violence. I said, what did Ram do? He had to pull out the weapon and destroy the evil. Now that is not called non-violence. It is violence for self-defense. So that means Ram was not a Gandhian. He failed all three tests. Now, why go through that? Go through history. Look at the life histories of 10 Sikh gurus. The 10th Sikh guru, Govind Singh Sahib, was he a Gandhian? Answer is, was he able to win with love? Answer is no. When the Mughals were forcibly converting them to, did he say, I will tolerate oppression and terrorism? Answer is no. And 3, he pulled out the weapon, didn't he? So he was not a Gandhian either. And in my opinion, anybody who does not have the guts to stand up to protect the respect and dignity of the good and his family, they are cowards. That is not called tolerance. So my answer was, I am not a Gandhian. I am not a Gandhian. Look at this. Our epics say, Ram stood for integrity. He stood against evil. So he was not neutral. Folks, keep in mind, a good leader always stands for something and against something in life. They are not neutral. Become proactive. And number seven. Folks, become an emotionally strong person. Build high self-esteem. When we do our leadership programs, we put in 5 hours of time into self-esteem. It is so crucial. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is the way we feel about ourselves. When we feel good, the world looks nice, productivity goes up, and relationships are a lot better, aren't they? And the reverse is just as true. And self-esteem is inversely related to egos. Have you seen people with egos like a know-it-all? What do? They talk down to people, don't they? They put down others, don't they? And every decision they make is more to satisfy ego than make sense. Folks, think about it. Why does a human being put down another human being? It is sadistic but true. There are some people in this world who feel good when the other person feels bad. They feel superior when the other person feels inferior, which means they don't want to lift themselves up, but they want to pull others. साहब इसको हिंदी में कहते हैं, लोग अपने दुख से इतना तंग नहीं है जितना दूसरे के सुख से तंग है. नरेश जी, are you with me? लोग अपने दुख से इतना तंग नहीं है जितना दूसरे के सुख से तंग है. They don't want to lift themselves up, but they want to pull others down. Now, what is the driving force behind high self-esteem? It is called self-acceptance. And inferiority complex or low self-esteem is driven by inadequacy or self-doubt. Now, what does self-acceptance say? Self-acceptance says, I accept myself the way I am, with my pluses and minuses. This does not mean that's the way I will be. That does not mean complacence. That does not mean take it or leave it. That is all arrogance. Self-esteem, if properly understood, is the epitome of humility. And it goes like this. How I came to this world, I don't know. But I'm here. I'm not perfect. Sunilji, I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I made mistakes. I apologize for my mistakes. I seek forgiveness for my mistakes. I'm not proud of my mistakes. I learned from my mistakes. I will not repeat my mistakes, but I am not a mistake. I am not a mistake. I am at peace with myself, with my pluses and minuses. I accept myself the way I am. Does not mean complacence. It says I'm willing to change. I apologize for my mistakes. I will not repeat them, but I am not a mistake. Now, a great example of this was given by Charlie Chaplin. And in Charlie Chaplin, once he was passing through Europe, and he saw a big hoarding, Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest. Now, out of sheer inquisitiveness, he decided to participate, and he did. And guess what? He lost. He came number 7. Now, think about it. He started thinking, the real one loses, the fake one wins. Then he started thinking, I'm the only one who knows who the real Charlie Chaplin here is. Should I tell them? Then he started thinking, why should I tell them? Do I have to prove anything to anybody here? I know my identity. I know my identity. I have to prove nothing to anybody. He just walked away without telling anybody anything. Folks, this is what we call emotional strength. And that comes from high self-esteem. I accept myself the way I am. I have to prove you nothing. Okay, next step. Number 8. Number 8. Folks, to overcome this crisis, folks, remember one thing. Have faith in life, but stay away from blind faith leading to superstition. I repeat, faith gives you strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people in life. Folks, what does that mean? One of the biggest damage done to India has been by our media. You pick up the newspaper, you open the television channels, and guess what do you see? All you see is horoscope, and there is somebody there, a Babaji sitting there with saffron clothes or white clothes with tilak here and a tilak there. And he says, give me your name, where are you calling from, what is your date of birth, what is your time of birth? Guruji, I don't know, don't worry about it. And the Guruji does tick, 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 tick. And he says, I got it. You have this ketu, this ratu, this, and he says, pitri dosh, putri dosh, patni dosh, phalana dosh, and shani chad gaya, shani chad gaya, shani chad gaya. Naresh ji, shani chad gaya, kehta hai, shani chad gaya, shani chad gaya. Then he says, shani utarne ka upay. He says, take a black काला रुमाल लीजिए, उसमें काली दाल डालिए, उसके अंदर काला काजल लगाइए, फिर काले बाल वाला खोजिए, फिर काला कुत्ता खोजो, फिर काला बर्तन खोजो. What a joke! साहब एक बात बताइए मुझे कि शनि उतारना, चढ़ाना इतना आसान है, तो भेजो शनि को पाकिस्तान, सारे टेररिस्ट भस्म करवा दो. What a joke! साहब मैं आपसे क्यों बात कह रहा हूं? I hope you, are you okay with Hindi? Is okay? Why am I talking to you this? Because if you look at the life histories of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Guru Nanak, they fought against these things. I repeat, they fought against these things. Go check out in the Sikh families. They never tally horoscopes. There is no Mangalik. And every day is a good omen day. They never find out a good omen. All weddings for a Sikh family is done on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Friday. Folks, why am I sharing this with you? People have become so superstitious, blind faith. They go out to these babas and they touch their feet, who should be in jail. And there was an article that came out in India today about a year ago, and I highly recommend all the listeners to get a copy of that article. It said, because of superstition, the natural childbirth in India has gone down drastically. Natural childbirth. And they especially quoted South India, Bangalore, Madras, Hyderabad. They said 80%. Hear this? 80% of childbirth is taking place through operations and C-section. 80%. You know why? Some astrologer said to them, this is a good omen, get your child out at this time. What is going on? Folks, why am I sharing all this with you? Very important reason. People, we all have ups and downs in life. Everybody has ups and downs in life. But you know something? When we have downs in life, we analyze, understand, accept responsibility, and we learn from every setback in life. We must learn from every setback, because if we don't, then guess what we will do? We will keep repeating the same mistake again and again. And people who don't want to learn, you know what they say? It's not my fault, my stars are not favoring me. It is not me, but my stars are not favoring me. Therefore, they don't learn from any setback, and they keep repeating the same mistake again and again and again. And they blame luck and stars for everything in life. Now, I was doing a webinar the other day, and somebody from the audience asked me a question. Mr. Khera, a person standing outside a temple for 12 hours to go in, is that faith or blind faith? Now, I answered it this way. I said, look, I believe in God. I pray every day. I don't leave my home without prayers. But I have not gone to a temple in 40 years. Now, the way I see it, most temple goers go to temples not out of faith, but they go out of fear. You don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. What is this? They go there more out of fear than out of faith. Folks, faith strengthens people. Blind faith, superstition, weakens people. And lastly, number 9. Folks, this is time to give back. This is time to give back. Folks, I've seen many videos in the news all over the world. There are many, many good people who have come forward. They've given the time, they've given money, they've given food to help the underprivileged. That is true. Many people have come forward. But as a community, there is one community who has been honored all over the world for the humanitarian service. They've been honored by the government of Canada. Government of Canada honored them. Government of the United States honored them. Government of England honored them. Government of Australia honored them. Government of New Zealand honored them. And that community is the Sikh community. Sikh community. They've been honored all over the world by these people for humanitarian service. You know something, even before the crisis, the concept of langar in a gurdwara was not even before, and thousands of people were having food there every day. And after the crisis, millions are having food every day. And whatever contribution we can make to the local gurdwara, we do it too. Now, why do they make the contribution every day? You know why? As a community, the Sikh community, the Sikh religion, the Guru Granth Sahib teaches them to be a caring person. Caring people. They're caring people. 2, they're sharing people. 3, and they are daring people. I repeat 3 words. The Sikh community all over the world, they are caring people, they're sharing people, and they're daring people. They care, they share, and they have the guts and courage to fight against evil and oppression. They have the guts to do it also. I wish the government of India had adopted the Sikh philosophy and the Guru Granth Sahib, their philosophy to run this country rather than our Indian constitution. India would be a totally different country here. Now, time to give. There was a man by the name of Lafayette in France. Once a drought came in and he had warehouses full of grains. And his advisors told him, Mr. Lafayette, this is time to multiply your money. 10x, 100x. They will pay any amount for your grains today. And what did Lafayette say at that time? He said, they were good times. They were laughing, we were laughing. They were good times. They were making money, we were making money. He said, these are not good times. This is not time to make money. This is the time to open up warehouses and give it free. You know something? These are the people who make world livable. This is time to give. Now, we should be grateful to God that we have a place to live and food to eat. Many don't. But interesting, why am I sharing this with you? Because I finished a program for a group of very high net worth people. There is one is called HNI, VHNI. What do I call VHNI? Very high net worth? People above $250 million. $250 million, my opinion. So I finished a program for these people. One person from the audience came up and he asked me, Mr. Khera, tell me, a person has got $1 billion. Why do they keep working more and more and more to make more billion, more billion, more billion? Why do they don't need the money. They got billions. Why do they keep working to make more billions? And my answer was, there are 2 kinds of people in this world. One is suffering from inferiority complex. He has billions, but he keeps making more to keep a score. They keep up with the Joneses. How come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have this, I don't have it? They have 50 million, I must make 100 million. He's got 100 million, I must make 200 million. He's got 200, I must make 300. He's got 300, I must make 400. Because if I have less, I'm inferior. If I have less, I am inferior. They keep a score. They keep a score. And what they do is, they measure their self-worth by their net worth. Nareshi, they measure their self-worth by their net worth. They don't understand. People make things. Things don't make people. And these are people who keep making money to cover the inferiority. And they sit on their money like a snake. And they do nothing for society. They're rascals. Keep them away. That's one breed. But there's a second breed of people who are billionaires and multi-billionaires. And they make more and more. You know why? They feel the more I have, the more I can give. The more I have, the more I can give. And the more I have, the more I can give. Look at Warren Buffett. The guy's got $40 billion. He gave $39 billion to charity. Bill Gates got $33 billion, gave $32 billion to charity. Azim Premji just recently gave $7 billion to charity. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because when I talk of money, sometimes in my program, people come up and they say, Mr. Khera, money is not important. Money is not important. I have written in my book, You Can Achieve More. It says, people who say money is not important, they are either stupid or they're billionaires. I repeat, people who say money is not important, either they're stupid or they're billionaires. Now, I didn't say money is the most important thing, but money is important. You know why? I learned one thing in my life, that money in good hands always does good, and money in evil hands always does evil. And I want to close this one thing, this program with one thing, one message, that it is the moral obligation of every good human being to be a multimillionaire and a billionaire. I repeat, it is a moral obligation of every good human being to be a multimillionaire and a billionaire. You know why? Because money in good hands always does good, and money in evil hands always does evil. Folks, with those words, I want to close the program and only say one thing, that I don't know if I have given you more than what you have given me. Probably you have given me much more than I could have given you. Why? Because you have given me two things. You have given me something which is priceless. And you know what that is? You have given me your time. You have given me your time. And I learned one thing in my life, that time is much more precious than money. Yes, no. Time is much more precious than money. And why did you give me your time? You gave me your time because you trusted me that I would not waste it for you. I would not waste your time. And folks, I learned one thing in my life, that trust in many ways is a much greater compliment in life than love. There are people we love, but we cannot trust. And folks, with those words, all I can say is, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce who's invited me, and especially Mr. Sunil Seth and Mr. Naresh Kumar, who I met, I think, in Singapore. We had dinner a long time ago. And with those words, I want to thank each one of you, wish good health to you and your families, and God bless. And maybe someday I'll come down to Myanmar. I haven't never been there. So I'll certainly look forward to seeing you people there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khera. It was an excellent session. I'm sure all the participants really enjoyed the very, very basic wisdom, and in a very practical manner, the talk that you delivered, and including all the lovely examples that you gave. I think you're a great storyteller, and that's what is a hallmark of a good speaker. Excellent. So, Ravinder, are you there? You wanted to ask a question. Ravinder, go ahead.
Now, who's speaking? I can't see the person speaking.
Yeah, I think it's Sunil here, Mr. Khera. And
screen up there?
You can't see me, is it?
No, I can't.
IT, can you do something about that so that Mr. Khera can see us, can see the panelists? IT?
It's good to see a face rather than talking to a blank screen.
Yeah. But Ravinder, are you there? Ravinder Jain, are you there? Or you can unmute and ask your question. Ravinder, go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Khera, you can see us now?
No, I can't see anybody except Naresh, but he's not speaking at all. He doesn't say anything.
He's waiting to give his
I'm
vote of
waiting
thanks
for
to
my
you.
turn to speak.
Okay, Naresh, I think you can go ahead. I think there are some IT issues. Naresh, I would request.
At this point, you should be able to see who talks. He only comes on the picture. If I'm talking, you'll see my name. And sir, when you talk, you will come on the picture.
Okay, Mr. Khera, I just wanted to take up a question. There aren't too many I see, but there's a question by one of our members who was wanting to know this recent case of Sushant Singh Rajput, this young 34-year actor who committed suicide.
Right.
And so his question was that in spite of having everything in life, why do you think a young, successful, upcoming actor like him committed suicide? And so what's the message or your take on that?
Okay. Let me share with you. This is something we talk in our leadership programs. You see, everybody is so enamored with this one word success. We're all enamored, but we don't even know how to define the word success. Let me share. A great philosopher once defined the word success as progressive realization of a worthy goal. I repeat, progressive realization of a worthy goal. What do these words mean? Progressive means success is ongoing. It's a journey, it's not a destination. You never get there. From one point you're going to get another. From here you want to get here, from here you want to get here, and from here you want to get here, and you never get there. It is a journey, it's not a destination. Progressive is one word. Realization means it's a feeling, it is an experience. See, Sunil, you cannot make me successful. I must feel success inside me. It is an experience. That is why what appears success externally may be total emptiness internally. You see, that is why it is said, success without fulfillment is empty. That's like good looks without goodness. They become irritating after some time. No wonder billionaires like Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, Michael Jackson take drugs and commit suicide. Now, billionaires, the world looked at them as successful, but you know something? They felt empty. Means what? Success is internal, not external. I repeat, success is internal, not external. So progressive realization of a worthy goal. Worthy goal. Now, worthy, we talked success is journey. Now, worthiness determines the quality of the journey. Now, and what determines the worthiness? It is our value system. It is our value system. And do people have unworthy goals in life? Answer is yes, they do. And what makes a goal worthy? It is our values. Now, when we talk of values, whose value are we talking about? And who are we to judge? And what says my values are right? When we talk of values, we don't talk of your values and my values. We talk of universal values and eternal values. Universal means they cross country, cross religion, cross culture. And eternal means they were here before we came and they will be here after we are gone. So, you see, we talk of universal and eternal values, but there are many people who say, well, values are subjective. They keep changing from person to person, situation to situation. Well, they have no values. How can they change? Okay, so progressive realization of a worthy goal. And no wonder when people are not fulfilled inside, they feel empty. You know something, folks? Committing a suicide is not easy. Let me share. You see, there has been hundreds and thousands of Indian farmers who have committed suicide in the last few years. You know something? When does a person commit suicide? When they feel two things. They feel totally helpless and totally hopeless. Two words, very important. When they feel totally helpless and totally hopeless. And that is the time they commit suicide. But my only thing is, this is depression, anxiety, stress, all put together. The bottom line to get out of it is We need to get out of ourselves. And I would follow the advice of Dr. Carl Menninger, who said, go out and do something for others. Find somebody who's in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away. So that is my only answer that I could, Sunil, to your question.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Khera. I would now request Naresh to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Chamber and Indian Association of Myanmar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khera. Highly inspiring and motivated speech.
Can I just talk to you for a
And
moment?
lot of
We had dinner at the
Yep.
holiday, didn't we?
Singapore.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
Okay, okay. And I recall your daughter came in for a dinner that we hosted, but that was great to have her. Grateful to
Thank
you, sir. I'm honored.
Thank
Carry
you.
on.
Always take care. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Khera. Highly inspiring and motivated speech, and a lot of practical advices which you have given. So, on behalf of the India Myanmar Chamber of Commerce, I would like to thank you for the taking out your valued time and giving us a chance to hear you out. The extreme gathering from various fields of life and business today on live webinar are very delighted to hear you.
Grateful to you, sir.
Mr. Khera, I have known you for some years. You're a great person, fine gentleman, humble, down to earth, beside being a great author, educator, and business consultant who has taken millions across the globe on the path of growth and fulfillment. In spite of all the honors you have received nationally, internationally, today's topic, turn back into comeback, is a great thought and encouragement to cope up with current crisis, to motivate oneself and others, and to prepare for success and to come out as a winner, especially at this time of COVID. One and all have totally demoralized, losing hope for the future. This talk today will get most listeners back on track. I thank you for this. I thank IMCC and the EXCOM led by Sunil Seth to arrange such seminars on a regular basis. I thank His Excellency Mr. Saurav Kumar also to back and guide IMCC whenever and whenever needed. You talked about true friendship, Gandhian principles, you talked about religion, free factors, caring, giving to society, money should be in good hands. These are fantastic advices which we always try to follow. I thank you once again to motivate us and hope to see you and take this opportunity to invite you to the golden land of Myanmar. Please be my guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Naresh. I think with that, we come to an end to our webinar today. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Khera.
Thank you, sir. Grateful to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let the COVID be over. We'll catch you in Delhi or you come here. Okay.
Grateful, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
Sunil.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rajiv. Bye.